The House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, the Build America 250 Act, and Congressman David Rouzer from North Carolina's 7th District, who joins me now to talk about all of this. Congressman, great to have you here. We can talk a little bit about North Carolina as well. You've got a few races going on there. But let's dig into the Build America 250 Act. Call it the executive summary, if you will, of what's there.
Well, absolutely. And first, David, it's great to be with you again. And I always enjoy our opportunity to visit with each other. I think I was on your show, I guess, maybe a couple months ago. But the Build America 250 Act really is a very, very good piece of legislation. We get back to the basics of infrastructure, back to the basics of roads and bridges. When we started this process, and I should back up and give the context that the highway programs that we have in place, they expire September the 30th. And so typically we will have a reauthorization every 5 years. Our highway programs expire September 30th. And so if we don't get a reauthorization done, basically federal aid to states for roads and bridges would cease, except for, we would obviously pass an extension, keep the current law in place. But this product that we produced out of committee is much, much better than current law. It's a real focus on our roads and bridges. The state departments of transportation told us throughout this process the main thing they need is certainty and flexibility. So you have formula funds and grant funds that go to address road and bridge concerns. We upped the percentage for formula funds to 90%. It's currently under current law 80%. So moving forward, assuming this gets signed into law, passed by the Senate, signed into law, and of course we've got to get it off the House floor too. Our vote, by the way, in the committee was 62-2. So it's a strong bipartisan bill, and one of the reasons why that vote was so strong, we took in requests from everybody, Republicans, Democrats, stakeholders from all around the country, had more than 11,000 suggestions or proposals, went through all those and formulated a very, very strong bipartisan bill. It eliminates all the Green New Deal programs that are current in current law from the previous infrastructure bill that passed a few years back when the Democrats had the majority. 90% of the highway funds are now via formula, which the state DOTs really like because that provides them the funding certainty that they need, and we give them flexibility. Another big aspect of this is NEPA reform. NEPA, for those that may not know, is the National Environmental Policy Act of 1970. We streamlined the NEPA process so these projects don't take nearly as long. Projects take way too long in this day and time, and every year a delay adds 30 to 40% to the cost of a project. So you're getting a much, much better bang for the federal taxpayer dollar with this bill.
Right.
And so there's also a big highlight on safety, big focus on safety, and that's not just as it relates to our roadways, but with regard to transit, fare evasion, and other aspects that have unfortunately led to some pretty tragic and terrible incidents to occur on our transit railways, bus included. So those are the big highlights. You got about $580 billion, most of which is funded by the Highway Trust Fund. There's a general fund transfer to accommodate the money that the Highway Trust Fund cannot support because we don't have enough coming into it. But it's a good, strong bill in the sense that the focus is where it should be on roads and bridges, streamlining rules and regulations to make these projects keep them on budget and on time. And it's going to stretch the taxpayer dollar, the use of that dollar, so much further to do so many more projects than it currently can do now.
Congressman, a number of things, and of course, this is a 1,005-page bill, and full disclosure, I don't think you expect me to read that bill in this short a time since you've passed it out of committee. But I do know how to use search engine functions and analyze bills and more. So, and thank you for that. The top line look at this, but I want to dive into some of the aspects of this bill that I do like and that I see so far. One of them is, and it's one of the examples you used. When you talk about delays in projects which cost more money, but there needs to be accountability to get projects done on time. I'm just going to be really straightforward and raw about this, which I know will surprise you, but too often contracts stretch in, which makes more money for the company. That's what you see on the roads a lot of times. I'm not accusing everybody of it, but that's a part of this picture. So incentives to finish ahead of time, which some states have done individually, responsible states have done that for years, improves the transportation infrastructure as well as reducing costs, not just on the roads, not just for the truck drivers, the transportation carriers and more, but for the taxpayer, because again, those costs come from somewhere. These are taxpayer dollars. And I see that accountability more in this bill than I've seen in past. For our truckers out there who are listening right now, there is a part of this bill, and I was really happy to see this in there because it's something I have been on top of for years and been disappointed by coming out of Washington, D.C. for years, and I do mean probably a good amount of my talk career, is what's involved in commercial vehicle parking and facilities along our highway system. Truckers move the country from rail to truck to whatever, everywhere in between, different forms of that. And we need a better infrastructure for the people and the vehicles together in order to be more efficient and safer. Address that part of this.
Yeah, so that's been a big priority of my friend and colleague, Mike Bost of Illinois, who is a trucker by trade, by the way. And so there's a program, a grant program that's put in place to help address the need for truck parking. These trucks, a lot of times you will see them, on an exit ramp pulled over to the side where they're trying to get rest because they have their hours of service requirements that they have to meet. In other words, they can't be on the road but for so long. There's so many places where you travel around the country and the trucks are just literally like parked on the side of the road. And of course, there's safety issues with that and other aspects too. So we try to address that, begin to address that. You're not going to flip a light switch on this and everything's going to be perfect the next day. But we try to make some great progress on that front with this bill.
Yeah, I think it's important that, and I see a lot of that in this bill, again, having gone through and broken and looked for certain components of it, that there is actual application in the bill. How do we get these things done for the various aspects of our transportation system? It's not just about resurfacing a road, but there are so many parts of this. Also, maintenance. Our system, and if you want to go back, let's call it the Eisenhower system forward to where we are today, is just simply that old. But our technologies have gotten a lot better. The technology in constructing roads. We now have heavier vehicles on the roads. You look at even, say, a electric vehicle, a car, which is multiple times heavier, so the wear and tear is there wherever that vehicle happens to be. That's the reality of where we are today. So in this bill, and this, again, scattered throughout it, and maybe not the right phrase, but what about making sure that we're using the best available road, surface, bridge infrastructure, even rail technology to update our system? Because that's the phase we're in as a nation. We're building new, but we need to update a lot of this, and we have much better technology to make our transportation system more durable.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Of course, we want the states to have the flexibility to utilize what they see fits best. We're not trying to be prescriptive of certain new technologies, et cetera. But the technological revolution is here. And there's so many advances that have been made across the board, and of course AI is just going to supercharge that in the coming years. So we, particularly as it comes to work zone safety and those type of issues, we certainly try to include provisions to foster innovation, to use more technologically advanced systems, so that we don't have the catastrophic accidents in work zones that you see on the road today. So there's certainly attention given to that aspect in this bill, but we try not to prescribe to the extent to where you're helping one company over another, or picking one company over another, or one technology over another. We were very careful to stay neutral on that front.